to just maybe we can get started and we can have people joining in as soon as they can. Okay, perfect. So good morning, everyone. Good afternoon and good evening. Thank you so much for coming in today. It's very, very exciting to have this opportunity to talk to all of you because it's start of the year. What better than talking about health and fitness and what we can do about it? So I'm very excited. Thank you so much for coming in. We have some more people. Judy, you have the co-host, right? You're able to get in? Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. Thank you everyone for coming in. I can see more people joining in. We are just getting started. So today I'm going to talk about the challenge. The challenge is called Sweat It Out for 10 minutes a day. So we always have the perception in the mind, especially for beginners, like when they think about working out or doing exercises during the day or during the evening, generally including exercise in their daily routine, it's always perceived or viewed as, oh my god, I have to do exercise, I need this equipment, I need to enroll into a gym, I need to pay monthly fee there. And we are just into all those things that comes with the exercising. And not to say about the social media, which gives us complete glamorous views of what exercising is about, what it should be not, what you must do, what you must not do, and things like that. uh, so my objective today is to tell you that, break that myth and say that exercise is not hard. Exercising is nothing but body in motion. So say for example, my mother or my grandmother at 10, 15, 20, 40 years ago, they didn't have any dumbbells. They would sweep their home with their hands. They would do the make the dough with their hands, or grind with their hands. So that was a form of exercise for them. And everybody was healthy, everybody was totally just fine. And, in our generation now, we are sold this idea of exercise is going to be something, this is what it is, you have to have this, you have to have that, this is the do's, this is the don'ts, and so on. But it's all just a myth. Exercise is anything you do to move your body, to sweat, to get your heartbeat up, to do anything which makes your inside of you to feel like, okay, I have done something in in motion. So the body responds to it in a very, very positive manner. And so that's the idea of the session today. So let me just share my screen. And Judy, would you like to take over and start with the questions and stuff that you wanted to ask, and or how would you want to do that?
Sure. If you wanted to start off with your slides first, or just maybe you'd like to start with the journey, actually, your story. I don't know if that is part of your slide presentation, but perhaps you could tell us what your journey was and how you came about being so consistent.
Sure. To be honest, my journey has been very, 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 very interesting in the sense of it has never been linear in nature. It has not been linear in nature. It's not been like a straight growth from start to end. So I started my fitness journey in 2018, end of 2018, beginning 2019. And it was off and on. And I have been working for a long time before I took a sabbatical in 2018 to take care of my child. And when I did that, I was always under the impression that when I take a break, I'm going to have the best time of my life. I'm going to do a lot of amazing, amazing things, enjoy every moment of it, take care of the baby and do household work, do cooking, baking, all the things which I envisioned doing when I was working and I didn't have time. And I took a very conscious break, and after the break, I did that for almost a month or 3.5 weeks, I guess. After that, a kind of emptiness steeped inside me because I felt like there was no purpose. There was nothing to look forward to. How much can I cook for 2 of us? How much can an infant eat? How much can I clean the house? So it ended after a certain point of time. The vanity of it completely ended. And I was totally getting into this depression state and anxiety state where I didn't know what I'm supposed to do. And I grew up in an environment where health and fitness was never a priority. I unfortunately inherited that belief system too, that health and fitness is something, the fate, destiny will decide. We just do our work. That's how I saw my parents growing, or my parents and family living. So the concept of you are self-responsible for emotional and physical health was totally, totally alien to me. And having that thought in my mind, I just went deeper, deeper, deeper. There were nights crying, there were days crying, there was irritation, there was mood swings, so many things that happened. I didn't know what to do. And one day, I just realized after a whole night of crying, I guess one of those nights that happens, I didn't even decide. I just felt like, yucky, this really feels yucky. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to feel like that. And I didn't know what to do. So I just stood up when my kid was sleeping and I jumped. And I jumped. It still sounds like silly for me when I look back at it in hindsight, but I just jumped. And I jumped until I felt like, I just felt like, oh my God, I'm jumping, as if I was doing some kind of a sport even back in school when I was 10 or 12 years old. And after doing that, I did for 1 day, I did for 2 days. And on 3rd day, I started running from wall to wall in my room. I would just run, touch one corner of the wall, come back and touch the other corner of the wall. I'll just run until I was really panting out of breath. And I realized, like, oh my God, that had such a profound impact on the way I felt. Not that my problems were resolved, my inner demons still existed, but the point was, like, I felt like, okay, I can do something about it. There is something I can do about it. However silly it may sound, but there's something. I felt a sense of control in the whole exercise of running from one wall to another and jumping around. And that's where my journey started. And slowly, eventually, I started doing every day for 10 minutes when my baby was asleep. And I started, it went for many, many weeks. And I didn't do anything else. I didn't improvise, or I didn't change, or I didn't add my dumbbells, or all of a sudden. No, it went for many, 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 many weeks. And that's how I started my fitness journey, and I progressed slowly.
Love that. Actually, Valley, if I may interrupt you, I think that's a wonderful story where you started just to do something, whatever it was, jumping, running from the room, back and forth. There is a question here, which I think is a great question from Jen. And she's asking everyone, how many people over here have a difficulty doing some sort of exercise every day? Maybe there's a show of hands, because I'm sure in the beginning, it's very hard.
Believe me, it's not the beginning alone. It's even now is hard.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it is an ongoing journey. It's something in my personal experience. You don't reach a perfection of it, perfect point where you're like invincible from that feeling of, oh, I don't want to exercise today. No, that thought process is going to stay with us all along our life, I feel. And I feel personally, for me, accepting it has made it much better than fighting against it and putting myself down and saying like how lazy I am, how can I think like this? I must go and work. No, I have accepted that thought of there will be days when I will feel miserable and I will not want to go and work out or move my body. And that's okay. On those days, I will talk about it, in strategies, what we need to do and how we can approach that. But yes, just to let you know, it happens even now for me. So it's not something unique happening to everyone.
And I think there's some people that agree with that too, and have that too, that same feeling. Absolutely understandable.
I know. So that's my journey. And what else did I want to share about my journey? Do you have any questions, Judy, that you would want to know about my journey before I start with about the challenge and things?
So as you were saying, so you started off, just really small. So what are you doing now? What is it that you're doing now? This was a few years ago where you started the challenge for yourself. So where has that led you now?
It's interesting. So after I started working out in 2019, we 2018, mid of 2018, then going into 2019. And then I eventually progressed into joining group sessions in the gym to understand how to work out. So I would go for group classes in the local community because I till then didn't know how to operate a treadmill or what is a dumbbell, where to buy a dumbbell from, and things like that. So there was a learning curve there. And so I did enroll myself into the local community classes, that taught about weight training and things like that. And the weight training always intrigued me. It always like made me felt like, wow, I'm becoming stronger. Maybe it's the perception behind carrying weights, or I don't know what it was, but I felt really stronger. And then the lockdown came in 2020, and that was the time, like starting 2020, and that was the time I did Lifebook as well. And Lifebook made a profound impact in my thought process because it gave me immense structure to what I was thinking and what I was struggling with. I felt like somewhere the universe put me there to all those emotional turmoil and growth, to make me prepared to make the best use of Lifebook, because I had everything, I knew everything. So I realized like health and fitness is not something naive to people. Everyone knows what they need to do healthy. That's never a problem. We all have the knowledge. It's about the doing, it's about the application. And Lifebook gave me that structure. And that's when I got this idea like, okay, everybody, I knew my friends were in lockdown. Everybody had 1 or 2 kids. They were young kids and sitting in the house with 2 kids, and toddlers were like, just pulling our hair out. So I started a simple WhatsApp group called Sweat It Out. And I invited my friends and friends of friends and friends of friends in Ann Arbor, in Michigan. That's where we were living. And And we all met for 20 to 30 minutes a day for 3 days a week. And it was, there was no cost or anything. I was not even, being an immigrant, I didn't even, I'm not even allowed to earn money or something. So it was more out of a passion, or to just to have some window for me to go out and just do something. So I started that in the basement. We started with 4 people, then it went to 7 people, then it went to 12 people, then it was 18, then 24. Today we are more than a big group of 30 women together. And that led me to the natural progression of doing a nutrition course, because I knew that this gave me immense happiness and joy when I was sharing with everyone. And I didn't know about the science part of it. And then I thought, like, okay, let me add that science element to it. And I chose a nutrition course from Precision Nutrition to add that and give a perspective, give a wholesome knowledge for myself. The idea was never to, start a business or things like that. The idea was, it's a natural progression. I know about fitness. I know it has helped me. I know I have lost weight. Okay, let me learn about nutrition too. And that's where I landed, and I started helping people. And it's an interesting thing about nutrition I learned is that, again, as I said before, there's nothing that we don't know. We all know what we need to do to be healthy. The nutrition aspect gave a perspective as to towards the human behavior, like what our mind does to us and easily tricks us out, and how we can deal with it. So that was a profound learning I gathered from the nutrition course and the eating habits. And today I'm like helping everyone, like I'm my friends, my family. uh, it's a very, very beautiful feeling to have, to know that you a simple thing as this, a sense of control over our health, has such a profound impact on every other aspect of our life, as they say, category, in interconnectivity, of each category. And I'm a living example of that. So that's where I am today.
That's wonderful. And I'd like to get back to nutrition, precision nutrition later, but there are some questions already in the chat box, and maybe in some remarks as well. So Godson says, going back to your consistency in exercising, it has to do with living consciously and self-discipline. However, like any other thing, it's not easy to maintain that consistency. So in that case, if it's not easy, is there a trick for doing something even though you don't have time on a particular day because life gets in the way, you have work or you have kids, and there's not half an hour that you can spare? But is there something that you could do just to maintain that consistency?
Yes, totally. So the science. So one other thing that hugely contributed to my understanding about consistency and my own self was reading. I read the 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 books, different books, to understand about how mind works. I'll share about what books I read a little later. But in one of my learnings, I realized, like, I'll give you an example. So say, for example, we always attach an emotion to an experience. So I love coffee. And if somebody comes in the morning and says, takes away my coffee, they better save themselves and go somewhere and hide somewhere. So I attach an emotion to that experience of having my morning hot coffee in a cold day, or a hot day even for that matter. So that emotion is something my brain and body knows. I associate a emotion of joy in that experience. So when I wake up, my body automatically goes, it gets up, brushes the teeth, and goes and makes coffee, takes a favorite cup, pours it, and drinks it. It's effortless. So in my experience, I realized, like, we have to identify an emotion to the exercise. So when we identify the emotion that we want to associate to the concept, or to the action of exercise or sweat out or motion or body's motion, it becomes effortless. And that helps in slowly building up the consistency. Again, it's not going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. There are days I struggle, say, for example, during my menstrual cycle days, there are days I cannot even move emotionally. I'm totally, totally down. But that's where I'll talk about strategies where you bring the self-compassion. So the trick is identify the emotion. And of course, nothing can help like the premise, vision, purpose. Identify your why.
Yeah.
That's profound. Why? For me, it was like I lost my parents very early at young, and when I had my baby, I missed the most my mother beside me, because I was like, I wish my mother was there to help me out. And I realized one of my whys is to make sure I am there for my child as long as I can. So that became my why. And that also helps in building the consistency. But again, it's not going to help you always. There are going to be days you will not find it helpful, and that's okay. So, but these are the two things I would say that helps.
Yeah, very powerful. The why is very important. What do you also think about just taking tiny steps? If half an hour doesn't work, just do 5 minutes of something, could be anything. Also, Jen mentioned that it just starts with the first step, and just a tiny step forward, even if it doesn't feel good,
Correct.
maybe associating the feel good feeling, because afterwards, after you've done it, you do feel good,
Yeah.
your dopamine sets in because it's your little reward, you've done it. And that might be associated with accomplishing a workout, however much time it is, and however intense, because it doesn't
Right.
always need to be intense. Raphael actually mentioned some exercises, jogging in the sand, HIIT training, high intensity interval training is great, but it's very intense and we can't always do that every day.
Yeah.
Then, alternate that with the walk or a short relaxation movement exercise. I think that's a great idea as well. And then Jen actually mentioned strength training, right? Danielle's resistance training, weight training. I think that's very important too. Great. I think I'm just gonna read out some comments. Great. Yeah. Simple movements is what Gaussen says, about 15 to 20 minutes after my early morning spiritual devotion and meditation. That's wonderful. It's not so easy, but you're still doing it. And that's self-discipline, dedication, and your bigger why, and that's what you're moving towards. So that's all good. So then I wanted to ask you then also, so how long for you did it take you to build that habit of being consistent?
I think I was able to lose around 8 kilos. Like 8 kilos would be like little over 10 pounds, 10 lbs in around in a 4 months time. And that helped me. The process of reaching there helped me to build the consistency. And after a point, what happens is that our body starts asking for it. That's what I realized, because when you start exercising for a specific amount of time, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, and say you do it continuously for 20 days or 25 days, after that, if you don't do that, the body starts giving some kind of a reaction to it, like, okay, there's something missing, go and do that kind of thing. And that started happening to me. So I was in the full like active like enthusiastic mode of, okay, I'm going to work out. I did that for a month, 2 months, and then I reached a point where I don't want to do because it was just hype in the initial, okay, I'm going to lose weight and things like that. And then I was like, oh, come on, just forget it. This is not going to help me. And especially after I saw that I was losing some pounds, I was like, okay, I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm already. And I then realized like I hit the goal, but I did not build a habit. And those two are very, very different things, because sometimes we hit the goal with that enthusiasm and that initial gratification of, oh, I'm working out just like everybody else, I'm losing weight. And once I reach the weight, it's like, okay, now there's no external motivation. So I failed to build a habit. So for me, it took for almost like after I actually started building a habit after I lost the weight. So it was not before. So until losing weight, it was always like that, thing. Oh, I am working out just like others. Yay, yay. So there was like this kind of a proud feeling. And after I lost weight, I stopped doing for a week or two. And then I had to bring it back. My body started asking for it. And I was like, okay, now I know I reached the plateau or hit that level. And now I have to build a habit. And that's when I learned like, okay, I reached a goal, but I didn't build a habit. And slowly I started building the consistency on top of it. And I would say it took me 6 months to build that consistency and define my own definition of health and fitness. So it was not aligned to moving. Just standing up and dancing with my 4-year-old was an exercise for me. I reached to that point. And that took me around 6 months' time, I would say.
Yeah, so actually you went from you had a outcome-based goal, right? In the beginning, you wanted to lose 8 kilos and reach that. So then you shifted you wanted to change your identity.
That's
It
right.
needed to become a habit because
Yeah,
you wanted to become somebody that would work out or exercise or move consistently.
that's right. That's right. Completely.
So, okay, so I don't know if you wanted to continue. I see a slide up if you wanted
Yeah.
to continue presentation, or because I do
Yeah.
have some other questions, but I don't
Yeah,
know when
I'm just going to quickly walk you through this. It won't take a lot of time. Then we'll come back to our questions. So sweat it out. So that's what it is. So this challenge, I want to let everybody know is that this is a very, 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 very simple challenge. We are not going to box ourselves or pressurize ourselves. So, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. No, the only thing that we are expected to do is to move our body for 10 minutes a day. The movement can be dance, it can be swimming, it can be lifting weight, it can be running, it can be walking, it can be biking, it can be any form of exercise, or even joining Heidi's challenge is going to be considered as part of this challenge. Uh, so what I would request is this uh, take this challenge as something not necessarily to achieve or reach to a point where, oh, I did this kind of a thing. It's more of a habit that we are trying to build and not reach a certain goal. So these are the steps I would like all of us to follow. So we would exercise for 10 minutes, and end of the day or after you exercise, you write about your experience. So I have um, a sheet, a journal, which I have used. Let me see. uh, if you could pull up. Hold on. Oh, probably I'll just come back and show that. So what I would request is I have a journal as put it in the activity in the event in Lightbook platform, where we would talk about what you did during the day, how you felt, and if there's anything that you want to write about how you felt or what your experience was about the exercise, and what didn't go well today. Maybe you couldn't exercise for 10 minutes, you could just move your body for 5 minutes or just do a walking, and you can write about that, and then you can write about what you can do about it tomorrow. How differently are you going to act tomorrow? So it will just give us a kind of a momentum and build some kind of level of self-awareness that, okay, I was supposed to do this, I did this, I felt good, and this is how I felt. Or I was supposed to do this, I couldn't do it. This is how I felt and how I can do it differently the next day. So that's the other thing I want you to take a note of. After you exercise, you write about your experience. And then what do you do with that observation? You improvise. So say, for example, today I decided to do some, whole body exercise, watching some YouTube video. And end of the day, after that, I felt immensely aching everywhere. And I realized like maybe I should start a little slow. I should probably do some just stretching exercise instead of directly going to a whole body workout, watching a YouTube video. So that's how we improvise. So based on your experience, I would like you to improvise on what you did the day previously, and then iterate, then repeat. So these are the steps I would typically suggest to follow as part of this challenge. Um, then I would move on, and we'll come back to the questions again. This is a big thing. So beliefs and mindset. So before we start this challenge, I humbly request we go over these points to understand what is our current state of mind. So when we talk about belief systems, as I mentioned earlier, I grew up with completely a different set of belief systems when it came to health and fitness, or generally health for that matter. It was a belief system where it's like it was very submissive, kind of, let anything happen, and it's, God will take care, or destiny will take care, or somebody is going to come and take care. And unfortunately, I had that belief system as well. And when I had blood sugar issues and thyroid and PCOD, I was like, oh, my father had, or my mother had, or it's in the family. So, it's not a big deal, and it's going to be fine. I'll just take some pills and stuff. And I realized that belief system had such profound impact on my choices, on what I chose to do on a certain day, what I chose to eat on a certain day, on going and picking that night sugary snack in the middle of the night and eating. And that belief system was completely uh, hindering me and my progress in all aspects. And Lifebook helped me to identify that limiting belief system. And we also have the exercises, the meditation in the Lifebook platform, which helps you to identify the limiting beliefs that you have with regard to health and fitness. So I would strongly recommend to go back and write about, what do you think is the biggest limitation or hindrance that's stopping you from living that ideal healthy life. And believe me, we always think like we don't have it, but when we really close our eyes and think about it, you would come up with profound realizations and awareness about, like, oh my God, I'm thinking like this, like, for example, I was thinking like going and having a sugary snack in the middle of the night was okay because I had a baby, because I was hungry, because I didn't know what else to eat, because of so many bunch of excuses that I had, and which convinced my own self, like, oh, okay, it's okay for me. So please do that exercise where you identify your belief systems. The next is identifying the energy and emotion. The example that I gave a while back about coffee. What emotion do I attach to the exercise, the acts of exercise? Like, am I going to attach a positive emotion? Am I going to attach like, oh, just a lot of hard work that's going to ache my body, that I don't feel good? So I would recommend that you start exercise, say, for example, today, really jump or walk or run, and then just observe your feeling. How do you feel? You feel good, you feel active, you feel nice, you feel energetic, and register that in your mind, write it down somewhere, so that tomorrow when you don't feel like exercising, you can go back and read it and think like, oh, okay, this is how I felt after the exercise, so I'm going to stick to that emotion. Then, of course, why? That's a big thing. So being part of Lifebook and already going through the process, you would have jotted down what is your why to becoming healthy. Tune into that why. Take the print out of that why in big bold letters and paste it around on your whiteboard or the place where you would see, and so that like, why I'm doing this. Redefine your success. This is a big thing. So when I started my journey, I associated my success to, losing a certain pounds in a month, or reaching a certain point. And as I said, I didn't build a habit, although I attained a goal. So I realized at all stages of this journey that I have to redefine my success again and again and again. On bad days, my success is going to be just getting up and walking inside my house. On good days, my success is going to be just doing a 20-minute workout or a 10-minute or 30-minute workout. So don't box your success into a strong or rigid definition. You define your success as every stage. Showing up is success. Every day you morning you show up, that itself is success. So please remember to not box your success or make your success a rigid statement, which will bog you down at the end of the day. So it's about beliefs and mindset and strategies. Prepare, prepare, prepare. I cannot emphasize much. Decide on the time you want to exercise. Find out the space that you want to exercise. Pick your clothes out the night before. Have a bottle of water ready. Have your shoes ready if you're going to do some kind of intense exercise. Just get into the mindset of exercising. Okay, right in end of the day, okay, tomorrow morning at this time, I am going to wake up and do this. So that has profound impact on our brain and our behavior. So when I wake up in the morning, you will automatically go for it. You know what you need to do. You have taken decision. You remove the decision fatigue of getting up in the morning and deciding, oh, what should I wear? Should I do this exercise? Should I do that exercise? So prepare. That's essential. So I recommend that please prepare a day before deciding your space, your time, your clothes, a bottle of water, everything when you are starting or to build this habit. Uh, Create a plan B. So this is something I started doing much later in my journey, because I realized like there are so many triggers in an environment which puts us down. So when you start with this, just imagine what all are the triggers or environmental things that might affect or stop me from doing this challenge. Say, for example, if my kid doesn't sleep the whole night, I will not be able to wake up in the morning and do it. Uh, when I'm going through difficult, menstrual cycles, I'm going to feel absolutely down to have the energy to wake up and do it. So create a risk mitigation action plan. Like, what will be my plan B? So if I don't sleep whole night, okay, I'm going to not do it in the morning. I'm going to pick up, take some rest, maybe pick up in the afternoon or the evening and just do a walk. Instead of 10 minutes, I'm going to do for 5 minutes and just get it done. So always remember that it's not going to be a straight line. So don't even have that expectation that I'm going to be showing up every day and doing that. It may not work. There are going to be situations where you're not able to do that. But as much as you can, identify those risks and create a plan B for that. Next, overcome the all or nothing thought process. This is especially applies to me hugely, because when I started, I was like, either I will do every day or I will not do at all. Even if I skip a day, it's like, oh, this is not good for me. I always remind myself of a story where a monk, a man went to a monk to ask him, like, please tell me, how should I be happy always? I want to be happy always. And please tell me what's the secret of being happy always. And the monk smiled and told him that the secret is remove the word always from your vocabulary, then you'll be happy. Uh, so the point I'm trying to arrive here is that it's not going to be always, all the days, all the time. No. When we are building a habit, we cannot have that expectation that I am going to do this all the time. Let's remove that always or all the time and every day from our vocabulary or thought process. We are going to align with the way our environment and our things are, and we are going to overcome the thought process of either I will do it all or nothing at all. No, if I don't do it today, it's okay. I'm going to come back the next day and do it. Uh, the trick there is where the fourth strategy is, you have to demonstrate immense self-love in the process. So if there was one thing I would go back and change in my journey, is be more loving to myself. I realized at some point in hindsight, I could have been more loving to myself. Please have lot of compassion in this process, because we are building a habit which has taken a long time. So all of a sudden, say for example, 20, 25 years, you didn't exercise at all. And on the 26th year, one day morning, if you expect your body and mind to just ease out into exercising for the rest of your life, that's not going to happen. We are going to have hindrances and struggles, and that's the time you have to demonstrate immense self-love towards yourself, and just adapt as and when it's needed. Uh, so these are the first strategies I would recommend. And finally, celebrate. This is a profound, profound, profound thing. So just recently, I was going through a difficult health issue, and I wanted to get back to exercise, and I didn't find the motivation. And what I did was I wanted to buy an expensive Apple Watch, the latest version, and my mind was not allowing me to pay that much money for that gadget. And I told myself, look, I'm going to have this challenge, or reward at the end of the month if I'm able to exercise or complete at least 4 days a week and keep myself active for a certain period of time. I'm going to reward myself with this gift. So have a reward for yourself. Think about a reward. Say, starting today, if I do this exercise by end of the month, I'm going to give this reward to me. Let that reward be something which you would otherwise not get for yourself, which you would be thinking like, okay, should I, do I really need it? Do I really not need it? So have that reward in a way where like it's really, really encourages you, makes you feel happy and joyful. So that is a very, very great way of celebration. So yeah, so these are some strategies and ideas that I have, and I wanted to share with you.
Well, thank you, Vale. These are real all impactful and powerful tips and strategies.
I'm gonna
because in some way or form, we're all kind of navigating the same emotions, the same struggles, right? Self-compassion is such a big thing that we sometimes forget, because we do beat ourselves up sometimes. And that's why I loved how you brought up also the all or nothing. You miss once, you miss twice, and then you think, oh, forget it, you're never going to do it. But it doesn't have to be that way. And if you catch yourself missing once or twice or even more, maybe you're reaching too far. Maybe you could scale it down a little bit so it doesn't happen that much, right? Because if it's too hard to do, something is going to tell you maybe you're not ready for it, or your body is ready for it. So scale it down so that you can create that consistency. I would almost think that it's actually more beneficial to do something every day, even though it's just a few minutes, just to keep moving, than to do a huge workout maybe once or twice a week where you're just completely exhausted, or you might have a chance to injure yourself because it's just so massive, and then not do anything the rest of the week. I think that is a good strategy. But in the meantime, we've also had some great comments here in the chat box I would like to read out here. So Debbie says, I make it a goal to move 10 minutes when I've been sitting in the chair for longer than 90 minutes. It gives me sanity, it prevents back issues, which is so true. A lot of us are sitting behind, me included, we are on laptop and we're sitting, in that angle where, if we don't move, your sanity might be affected, but definitely your lower back, your glutes, everything, your whole posture. So that is a great tip there. Gotson says, and here we're talking about the interconnectivity again. When you were mentioning dancing, that he thinks that's a great idea, and he likes to dance with his wife. And it's not also gratifying and motivating, but it also encourages and deepens the love relationship with his wife, which I think is beautiful. And Kirsten mentioned, and that's a good one also, that yesterday in our kickoff event, Danny mentioned that her strategy is that she sets a minimum target. So on bad days, the minimum effort counts as a success, right?
Correct.
We should always celebrate the successes.
Or just showing up. That's
Showing up. It's the art of
huge.
showing up.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's exactly. The art of showing up is just so important. And that also, I think, is a great tip that you had, is to plan, because that makes the art of showing up easier.
Easier.
So if you plan the day before, the night before, and even writing down makes it easier. Just write it down as to what you're planning to do the next day, because then you're kind of locked in for yourself to do it.
Yeah.
I do it myself too. I write it in my calendar and I write down what I'm going to do the next day. It really helps.
Yeah.
So yeah, wonderful feedback here from the audience. Godson mentions nutrition, intermittent fasting, walks after meals are very helpful. And Maria says, I'm glad you mentioned the emotional health, as everything in life has emotion tied to it, and therefore mental health is a key aspect of health.
Absolutely.
It's about well-being, isn't it?
And another thing I want to add in here, Judy, is that, I mean, when I started exercising, I realized like there was so much grief inside me. There was so much hidden, blocked energies inside me, which started to break out, because I realized like I didn't have time to process many of the losses in my life, and that and also the fact that I didn't grow up uh, in an environment where I had a lot of choices to do what I wanted to do. And other point being, I didn't know what I wanted to do. That's a different story altogether. So those things hugely started surfacing after I started working out. So it's not that it when you start workout, everything vanishes. No, it surfaces more, I would say. The emotion comes up more, it gets more intense. And that's when the idea of showing up helped me, because when it became more intense inside me, moving my body was the last thing I wanted to do. So I started reducing my expectations about myself. Okay, if I had decided 30 minutes of work, or no, I'm just going to show up for 5 minutes and do something, jump or run wall to wall. And some days have been just moving from here and there for 5 minutes and crying for 25 minutes. So those emotions takes its own journey, and it's a good thing. There's no need to run away from them. There's no need to judge ourselves like, oh my God, you've become like this, you're like this, you're then. No, it's just embrace it, just hug it, and just tell yourself it's okay. Get that out of your body, and exercise helps immensely to do that. Showing up helps immensely to do it. Moving your body helps immensely to do it. And the liberation of energy that you experience after you break that energy bond or emotion that's blocking you is huge. You become unstoppable. You become limitless. Like it's like, come what may, I'm gonna give a damn about it, and I'm gonna just make my life. Oh my God, trust me, guys, it's huge. So I strongly feel and grateful if you could really start with this.
I love that. Yeah, it's definitely the power. It's the self-care that we have to remember. And I don't know if anybody wants to share their story, how the emotions are so profound, and just releasing that when you're working out. And feel free to raise your hand, and if you want to talk about it, we could do that here in this space. For me, it did. I was depressed for many years, and it was my decision to start doing something about self-care. And that for me meant movement, that I overcame that. I overcame it. And that's why for me, it is so important to keep that going as a consistency, because I do not want to fall back into that hole. So yeah, so that's my own experience. But I see that Marit has raised her hand. So if you would like to unmute yourself, Marit, thank you.
Hi, Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. I just wanted to contribute in the sense that I typed it into the chat that back in 2020, I had a heart attack and I wasn't even 60 at the time. I had been walking my dog regularly, and it was during a walk that happened. But I read my body and I knew that it was happening. So, you get on the ball and you call 911 emergency services and that. So knowing your body and what your limitations are and what's happening in your body is a key aspect of getting healthy as well. So after heart surgery, I wasn't allowed to go for long walks. I was told 2 months, take it easy, don't do anything strenuous, nothing. So what do, right? I started again, which I had done years ago, but you put it on the back burner sometimes, like you said, you forget out of the routine. Morning stretches. So that's what I started doing inside the house was morning stretches. And I do them in my bed. I have a very hard bed that I sleep on. So I'm able to do my hip turns and my leg movements. I, do my ankles and get myself prepared to even get out of the bed. And then move on to doing touching the floor with your knees straight and so on. And you stretch your arms and so on. It takes about 10 minutes and it's become such a morning routine for me now that I continue to do that. But I've also gone back to walking after the couple of months off. I've gone back to walking and I walk anywhere from 3 kilometers to 8 kilometers a day, dependent on weather and depending on my stress level, right? So, Christmas brought on some stresses. Even though it was icy outside, I still went for walks because I needed to relieve that stress in my head of Christmas activities that were not going as projected or planned or whatever, right? So getting out and moving is a way of releasing a lot of stress and tension in the body. And that stress and tension and intention in your body, it was creating my heart attack problem and my heart problem that I had. And had I recognized it a little bit more earlier than actually having a heart attack, I would have been doing something more proactive about it before I had that episode. So, however, I'm not going to have another heart attack. That's the intention and that's the why that I have.
That's good. That's amazing.
Very profound why. How are you feeling now, Marit? And my next question, are you logging your kilometers in Heidi's challenge?
I am. I was one of the few first ones in there. And I was just actually, when I came back from my walk, because at the beginning of this call, I was on my walk. And so I put on the program and I've got my, the shared, I can't even think of what this is right now. Anyway, the shared chart, and I've logged my kilometers in there already. So staying right on top of it.
Well done. And you're feeling good?
Yeah, and not too bad. I would love to be able to curb my sugar rush that I want. And I'm working on that. I have a formula that I got from our natural health store, which is for gut health, which will help heal those cravings too. And it's the base of it is curcumin and turmeric. So those are good.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
And maybe you can attend Dr. Raphael Bolio's 4-week workshop as well. He might give us some tips there too.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Marit. Wonderful. Well, I think we have about 5 minutes left. I don't know of any other questions or shares that there are. Oh, and then if not, then my last question to you, Valerie, is how do I participate in your challenge?
Sure. So you just have to, there is no formal way of participating. So you can just start from today. I have given the links for the journal and a list of exercises and some free apps that you can use to start exercising, to watch the videos and start exercising. So I will be checking in on the platform weekly with all of you guys, uh, sharing my experience, because I'm going to start with you. I started yesterday. I'm going to do it along with you, and I'm going to share my journey as well. And I'll be checking with you weekly with all of you, saying how's it going, and if you want help, anything, any sort of thing. It may be physical, it may be emotional. Just ping me. I want to be of help to you all, because I know this journey can bring overwhelming emotions at times. So some people, for some people, it can be a good kind of a relief kind of thing. Oh, God, I feel relieved after it. So good, not so good, happy, difficult, whatever the process is, whatever it is, please do share with me. I'll be learning a lot from you guys, and I'll be sharing my experience too. Do use the journal. It has profound impact when you start taking a pen and paper and write. Nothing can replace it. No app, no computer, no latest technology can replace the power of getting your pen and paper and write. Write what you go through, what you feel, how you feel, what you can do better. And please share your experiences, tips, and strategies. I will be learning in this process too. And we will see every week how it goes.
Ah, that is great. Yeah, do join if you want. But Valley, you also have an accountability group.
Oh, yes, I
Maybe you'd
do.
like to mention that too. Well, we're
Yeah,
already talking about doing this together. This is about doing, working on our health together.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
so please do.
accountability group starting on the 13th of January. I'll be meeting the folks who wanted to join. So I have some ideas about, like, probably we could, as what William yesterday gave a valuable feedback, bring your highest goal under the health and fitness category into the accountability and make part of that, part of this whole accountability thing. So please join the accountability group. It is a two-way street. It's not going to be me just telling you, listening. It's going to be me learning from you and you learning from me, for whatever experience we are going to learn from each other. And this is an amazing platform, guys, because we all are synced to a single life book, concept and thought process. So there'll be, it's limitless when we think about what we can learn from each other. So please join the accountability group. We will start with bi-weekly, and then we will see how we want to do it together. We can set goals, we can share feedback, and it's going to be fun. Let's make this like a fun process.
Absolutely. And then Kirsten is on the call too. And I don't know if you want to mute yourself with just a few minutes, because I do want to promote your accountability group as well.
Yeah, I hope you can hear me because I don't have a microphone today.
Yes,
We can.
Okay, cool. Yeah, my accountability group starts next Tuesday and is at 7 p.m. my time. So that would be in 2 hours from now, but next Tuesday. So my time being Germany. So 7 p.m. Central European time on Tuesdays, starting next week on a weekly basis. I'm really looking forward to that too.
This is wonderful, ladies. And the information is on the platform. You can find it in an article on the activity feed. All the corresponding Zoom links are there in the times as well for Valley and for Kirsten and Maddie. So anything, I'm just going to let you close it off, Valley.
Okay, so closing points is, please remember to be very compassionate during this journey. Not this month, not this week or so, during the whole process or journey towards achieving your health and fitness goal. That is one biggest learning I take back from my experience, that it's important to be very, very compassionate to ourselves, reward ourselves, share with the people around you who would really think can motivate you to be in your journey, and just go with the flow. And I'm sure you'll be able to achieve much more than the goals that you have set for this year. And I wish all of you a very good luck.
Wise words. Thank you. Thank you so much, Vali.
Thank you. It
Thank
was
you,
so nice.
everyone. And thank you, Kirsten, too. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy.
Good
Thank
luck
you.
to all with the
Bye-bye.
challenge.